Oh man, I've put this off for way too long because it just seems daunting, right? We got to do it. We got to do it. I've been thinking about this for a while because I'm not 100% sure how to do this quickly, because that is a lot of cards in Series 3 to collect. In the first tier list we did the Series 5 and I flew through it, and then I got complaints that I like went too fast through it. Then on the other end of the spectrum, I did the Series 4 tier list, took more time to explain it, and people were a lot happier because it's a much shorter list. But I'm gonna listen to my Series 5 gut here because I don't think anybody wants to watch this much commentary on every single card. So I'm gonna find like very specific ones I wanna talk about, probably more than anything else, and just start yeeting cards up top in some capacity. Just simply yeet. They're gone. Ones that jump out to me right off the bat. How about no for Baron Mordo? Sorry, just he's immediately going there. Just because I see him at the top and he's awful. Ghost, same thing. I don't think Ghost has a home, and no. Other ones that feel really bad, because it always feels, it's easier to find the cards that feel bad than the ones that feel good. I'm leaning Martyr, maybe here, but I'm leaning Martyr just because any card that makes you lose ends up bad. Spider-Man 2099, another one. It just never does its thing. It's still an incredibly bad card. Snowguard has like one use and that's it, and then it still gets teched out. Rockslide, another one. Now that Terrax exists, it doesn't matter. In the quick grabs for the bad feels, yeah, Rescue, definitely. Rescue, like, desperately needs a rework. Drax, awful. Where's Groot? Sorry, Groot. Hate to tell you, you're just as bad. Oh no, your earlier series. Your series 2 or lower. That's a different video. I'm gonna put Crystal here too because I think they're so scared of her being good that they just keep her as dog crap. And yes, I know some of them are older images, like Black Cat says 2.6, but she's really 1.5. I get it. You get the idea. We're filming this when? This is the second week of August, 2025. We're fine. You get the idea. Okay. I am gonna add actually section here specifically. Yeah, I think we're gonna archetype definers. Yeah. We're gonna need that one here because like, I honestly think like Agatha is an archetype definer. You can't, every Agatha deck is playing around Agatha. You have to. Cerebro, every Cerebro deck is playing around Cerebro. Even Destroyer, I think you have to play around Destroyer. It's not just a card you plop into it. Like major, like where's Mr. Negative? Patriot should go onto that list. Mr. Negative should go onto that list. Like these are all individual decks that you build around. These aren't cards that you plug and play into a variety of decks. Ronan, he's another, well, I mean, he's a package. I'll leave him here for now. He's a very core package, but he is his own deck. Ultron, another one that's probably an archetype definer because they're very synergetic in each other, because if you're playing Ultron decks, you're building around that turn 6 Ultron. Similarly to Dr. Doom. Like these three here, we may have to make more categories, but that's how I end up feeling about those. Like you build around those. Null, another one. You build around those specifically. What are other cards that you build around in this archetype? Within their deck, like you build a deck for, yeah, MODOK's a good one, right? You build a discard deck for MODOK, 100%. I could make an argument for Ghost Rider being in that category too, but I'm not quite there yet. And maybe Helicarrier is more so in that conversation with MODOK, because Helicarrier is like dependent on you having other pieces. Hela, oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely Hela. I think that's a good starting point. Super broken important cards that you absolutely need, like Mobius. Must-haves we'll come to in here. Let's just throw some like super important cards up there that have a little bit of that, you know, plug and playness to them. I'm even going to put Echo all the way up there as a plug and play flex tech card. It might be niche and strong, but as of right now, I'm keeping it there because you can literally plug that card into anything. Juggernaut, absolutely. No matter what state it's in, as long as it's 3 cost and lower, 100%. Plug and play. Goose, Havoc, Magic. I mean, everybody likes an extra turn. Negasonic definitely is in this discussion. I don't know about Jane Foster being like plug and play. Like I'm talking about the cards that you constantly consider for any deck, like Zabu, right? I know he's 1/1 now, but you get the idea. Oh, Jane Foster for archetype. Yeah, I mean, you do build around that with negative. Like that's just its own package. So yeah, I could see that. Sarah, absolutely. Sarah absolutely deserves to be in this conversation up here. For the plug and play, like it can go into any deck. I'm gonna say Luke Cage, good tech card, depending on the meta that we're going into. That can be into any deck. Silver Surfer deserves to be its own archetype, of course. Magneto and Nebula, yeah. I think Nebula, yeah. I mean, I didn't say the thing. Why did he appear? Now I did, but he does anyway. Magneto, I think, is just a very good tech card. It's a very good card in general, but if you're looking for a 6-drop, it's probably one of the first ones you think about all the time, especially early on. Like the second you have access to Magneto, you're contemplating how often can I use this? How do we want to go about like Venom? Like is Venom Null that combo that we have to like consider as a combo? Because like all of these cards are integral to each other for their decks, similarly to these. Yeah, just Series 3 right now. I can make an argument for Kitty Pryde also being plug and play, because any card that just allows you the ability to guarantee a drop every time because you drop it down and it comes right back again. It's amazing. No, I'm gonna put a Nation Strong. Other Nation Strong cards as we start to get there. Bounce decks, I think that's gonna have to be an archetype definer. Nation Strong, I'm gonna put the Black Bolt Stature package in here as Nation Strong at the moment. I would not consider it an archetype definer. It's a 2-card package. As its 5/8 state might come back in the future, sure, I think it's a much better duo, but I still think that it's a 2-card combo that can go into any deck, but I wouldn't put it as plug and play flex tech because you're very heavily building around a 2-card turn 6 combo that ideally like lots of 5-drops, Black Bolt into stature plus 5-drop. Like that's kind of the direction you need to go very often. Like niche but strong, like Dracula is another one because as much as Drac Dump is an archetype, you can play variations of those dump decks without Dracula. You can play Red Wing variations, for example. I don't necessarily think it's an archetype definer, especially in discard, because it does end up getting cut. Similarly to Helicarrier though. That's tough. No, you build around it. You build around it. Because if Dracula's in there, you build around it. Helicarrier's in there, you build around it. Yeah. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it as this. Wong is a plug and play flex tech. I don't know if I would call that. I'd just call that niche strong because again, you have to build around your on reveals to be able to do that. Niche but strong for death because like, you know what? I think death goes here and I think destroyer goes here even more so because these are more integral to death decks than destroyer is. So it's actually replaceable. I'm gonna go down that direction. That makes a lot more sense to me. Niche, Black Panther, niche but strong. Brood, niche but strong. Colleen Wing, niche but strong, definitely. I think Agent Coulson is also strong. He's very disrespected, but can be really good. Same thing with Bast. You're building around a Bast deck. The whole deck has to be ready for Bast. So yeah, I think you archetype define that one. Niche but replaceable for Giganto because he's just a big body, but he's limited. I'm gonna put the Arnim Zola in niche but replaceable alongside Destroyer for the same exact reason in Destroy. You keep these, in my opinion, more like you keep Death more often than you keep Zola. That's debatable, hot topic. You let me know down below what you think. I'm sorry, that's what I think. It's my tier list, sorry. I know Tucker's in the chat screaming, probably in his head. Nimrod for the same reasons with this. Red Skull, I think also again, niche but strong. The ones that like, I'm just looking for ones that immediately jump out at me as like, this is really good in this. I think Deadpool actually ends up being more valuable in Destroy. Like I'm trying to think on the Destroy variations here, what would be considered archetype defining, niche but strong, and then niche but replaceable? Because you build with all of those always, but you can build a Nimrod Zola deck without Deadpool. You can build a Deadpool deck without Nimrod. You can build a Deadpool deck without Zola, but all three of the, and Destroyer too, all four of these cards either need each other and need these, But these do not need any of these. I think the way I do it is this, because these are more defining for destroy, because you build around those a little more. You have to have those, you build around those, and then get creative afterwards. Like that's the order I think it goes. I think that's the order it goes. Every discard deck has MODOK, but I don't think every discard deck runs Gambit. Niche but strong for the hood, because I mean, you get that extra demon, and yeah, you don't have to build around it, but it's just a really, really solidly good card. Solidly good. I think Mirage is also niche and strong. I think Mirage is a little underrated. Like I know we see her in a lot of decks, but not because people think she's strong. They just want information and a little extra power, but you forget how valuable that is on a 2/3 Mirage. Down here, I'm gonna put the Master Mold Maximus pieces, you know, the Ronin pieces. I think even Black Widow is yeah, no, Black Widow you can play into more decks, but you're constantly replacing it. Some of the move cards should be here though. Niche but strong. So I'm gonna put Ghost Spider. Is Iron Fist in this list? No, Human Torch. Oh, Iron Fist. No, he's earlier series. Ooh, Falcon, niche but replaceable over the bounce deck, because I see a lot of bounce builds run, like mandatorily run Beast, but don't run Falcon because Toxin exists. So I think that goes away. Sentry, niche but strong, definitely. Nick Fury, replaceable. Goblins, are both goblins in here? Because I'd consider that both of them replaceable. They're good at what they do, but very specific to what they do. You know, going on the other side of the board, you got to play it right. Daredevil, I hate to put Daredevil down here, but it's the truth. He can go into any deck, but you often replace him into any deck. And he has niche uses that make him better, but he technically can go into any deck. That's what flexible and replaceable really lists as. He can technically go into any deck. Oh my God, why is Shadow King still even down here? Jesus, he needs to be all the way up there. That was disrespectful. Mystique's a good one for niche and strong, because you get the right ongoing. I mean, double Iron Man for cheap, or Ronin for cheap, Darkhawk for cheap. I mean, you guys get the idea. It's stupid good. Oh yeah, the move cards. Dagger goes here. Vulture's earlier series? Yeah, Vulture's earlier series. I think we did a really aggressive, fast representation of throwing these out here, right? Like really fast. So cards that jump out to me as like, you could play these into any deck are these pretty comfortably. You build an Agatha deck, you build a Jane Foster negative deck, you build a Ronin build, you build a Doom deck, you build a Patriot Ultron deck. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put Ultron into niche but replaceable for the same reasons, because Doom can be its own deck. Ultron really can't. It has to have Patriot. And because of that, and Patriot decks very often don't run Ultron, he gets cut, so he's replaceable. These three are pretty much in every destroy deck. Hela, definitely her own archetype. Cerero, Surfer, Bounced, Bast, Beast, Bast, Bounce. It's all the Bs. Yeah, those are like the key core cards for the decks that they are. I'm gonna even put Helicarrier down here for the same reason I dropped Deadpool and Nimrod, because you need Dracula for a Dracula style deck, whether it's Apocalypse or it's Drac Dump. You need that card. MODOK for discard, you need that card. That makes a lot more sense to me now. Looking at it, like that feels better. Yeah, that feels a lot better. These are options for those decks. These are most often cut for those decks, because you build. Wait, should it go here or should it go here? Replaceable or strong? I think Ultron goes strong, because those are further enablers of these archetypes. Further enabler of their yeah, okay, that makes more sense. That feels good now. Anything else really jump out as... So Spider-Ham is definitely flexible but replaceable. Not every deck needs Spider-Ham, but every deck could run Spider-Ham. Rogue is still down here. Crap, Rogue's got to go up there as absolutely plug and play flex tech. Absolutely. Could put that into any deck safely. Shuri is interesting. The double up ability is incredibly strong, but you really are leaning heavy into it when you do play it. I think same thing for Wave. I think Wave and Shuri end up in the same boat. Even with it being reciprocal, I think that ends up being confident. Arrow's a tough one, because you don't have to just use Arrow in move or disruption. It's just a good card, at least to me. So is it flexible but replaceable because you can play it anywhere, or you're playing it only in those? Because I can make an argument for it being flexible as a good 5/9. More recently, I feel like it's just very niche. Now it's starting to get a little more, almost down to 4 lines here. That's good. Wasp and Yellow Jacket, I think they're both in that category of niche but replaceable. I think they both have reasons and homes, but they're incredibly small. Hercules is in that same kind of category. You don't have to have Herc in a move deck, but it works out well. Unlike an Absorbing Man, where you can put an Absorbing Man and it makes a bigger impact in the decks that make it do its thing, like the Brood synergy, for example. Like Brood Abs, that works. It's really a confident combo. Miles is another one. You get the move and he's a 1/6. I think he's in the same category as the Black Bolt Stature combo with that reduction, because you play into it. But this one is so, you know, synergetic to each other. You have to play it as a duo versus Miles, which you can play with any movable piece. Hellcow gets cut all the time from discard. Kingpin gets cut from disruption. I think Omega Red gets cut from ongoing. Stegron gets cut from disruption. Sauron's an archetype definer. You play a Sauron deck to be a Sauron deck. You play a Quinjet deck. Dude, it's not a Quinjet deck. It's just helping all the extra pieces, but not all of the extra pieces. So I'm gonna call it niche but strong, because cost reduction is always valuable. I think Super Skrull is also very meta dependent for the same reasons. If there's a lot of ongoings, you want to play a Super Skrull, and it's just a card you absolutely can't wait to have in your collection. What are cards that you can't wait to get because they're good? Like, I think She-Hulk can make that conversation. Ghost Rider makes that conversation. Polaris makes that conversation, I think, as niche but strong. Like for the disruption cards, you play Polaris more often than you play Stegron. So that value, I think, is what justifies that for me. I'm even going to put Lady Deathstrike in that for niche but strong. I think that she's still an incredibly good card, but the meta has to be right for her, or the deck has to be right for her. Black Cat, again, now at a 1/5, very niche, but I'd say she's strong. I mean, it's a 1/5. The downside is you have to play her right away, so your deck has to permit that. As long as it permits that, it's a great card. Havoc, niche, but I think this whole archetype, the end of turn archetype now kind of justifies them as strong, but Warlock gets cut. Like, I'm thinking of the builds themselves, like Beta Ray Bill Thor, right? I don't know if do you call Thor niche but strong? Because I feel like you build Beta Ray Bill and Jane Foster more than you build Thor and Jane Foster. The turn 4, turn 5 package versus the 3 and 5 package due to the max out of it. Hi, Taxi. Do you want to come join the tier list? I think Selene is probably going to enter. How about no? Like, I was recently just playing a Selene deck to try and help the goblins, but that's like it. And goblins get cut from the deck all the time. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not too thrilled about it. I feel sad for Ghost. I do too. Ghost needs love. Same thing for Spider-Man. I think that Spider-Man ends up being a card that obviously it's Spider-Man. Everyone wants Spider-Man to be good, but you end up replacing him in a lot of either disruption decks or move decks. And a lot more players that want that effect are utilizing the combo destroy Uncle Ben piece more than actual Spider-Man nowadays. Moon Knight, niche but strong. Debris, niche but strong. Is Debris niche but strong or an archetype definer? Because I mean, when you think Clog, you think Debris. It's the first card you think of when you think of Clog. To me, it is. I think of Debris more than I think of Sentry, but I think they both are relevant to it. Yeah, I feel good with that. Very limited decks, Dormammu, Zoo, but you don't have to run her. I think Crossbones ends up as flexible but replaceable, because it's just a deck that, just a card that just synergizes on priority and winning the lane. If you're winning the lane, you play the card. Great, so it's a strong card, but yeah, I think Typhoid Mary fits that bill. I think Leader fits that bill. I think Atuma is niche but replaceable with that destroy piece, like with the option of the Nimrod variations or getting rid of your bad stuff. Like, I don't know. Okay, we're getting close here. Captain Marvel, I think niche but replaceable. It's a card, I mean, we've gone through Captain Marvel metas, but with her being at 5 power that decides when to move to win the game, I think it's just controlled enough. Dazzler, I mean, it's a 2/8, and so's Mojo, but I think you replace Mojo way more often and Dazzler's way more consistent. Like for Mojo to get +6 immediately, but Dazzler gets +6 and you control that full +6, she's a lot stronger. So you get rid of Mojo more often than not. Maria Hill, niche but replaceable. M'Baku, flexible but replaceable. Sorry, no room for M'Baku. Quake, flexible but replaceable. I hate to say it because you can put it in any deck, but you often take it out. Cerebro 3, you take it out. It's not like it's a core card in any of those decks. The other location control cards are more valuable, but it can snipe cubes, just like M'Baku can snipe cubes. It's Daredevil, same thing. Like, yeah. Energy from Psylocke, I think ends up in the world of niche but replaceable. You're looking for ramps, but now there are so many, like I would more often than not, unless if it's a negative deck, more often than not, I'm not playing Psylocke. I'm playing either a Hope Summers or a Luna Snow or a Sarah. I think Psylocke has very specific homes like Mr. Negative where she's much better. So I'm gonna have to put it in niche but replaceable. Hazmat, niche but strong. You play a deck for Hazmat. It's not an archetype definer, I don't think, because you can play Affliction without Hazmat. As weird as that sounds, I see a lot more Affliction decks go super lane focused and not need to go broad since they moved Hazmat to 3 cost. Howard, super niche, but you know what? No, he's a how about no. I can't say like niche but replaceable. Howard's just bad. Like he has one home in an ongoing deck as a niche option and that's it. Outside of that, you're like, Viper. I think niche but replaceable because you're also, Merlin exists now, Annihilus exists now. I think that's all just as valuable. Goose, flexible, definitely. Or niche, possibly. I don't even know anymore. My brain's done. How about niche but replaceable because you got to be able to build underneath that 4 cost threshold. Doc Ock, you've got to be able to hold on for everything possible from what he pulls out. So it's got to be a tall deck or something that can counter if it's a large card that drops. Valkyrie, niche but replaceable. I debated about how about no, but no. I think Silver Samurai ends up in how about no, unfortunately. Orca, I mean, there's one deck that really makes Orca kind of look good and it still sucks. Silk, niche but replaceable. You want like your Hydra Stomper and your Move and your Uncertainty decks with Craven and stuff. Yeah, you play Silk, but very often people cut Silk because of the inconsistency of reliability. Jean Grey, flexible but replaceable, lane control. Invisible Woman, niche to her. Electro. You have to build Electro decks very specifically to then play around his condition of ongoing. So I think it's good for the energy ramp, but you have to play into it. So I'm going to call it replaceable. Taskmaster 2 with the flexible but replaceable or niche but replaceable. Like there's very few decks that you want to play Taskmaster in, and very often you just don't. Titania can go into really any deck. Zero can go only into decks that can afford to have their effects removed. Lockjaw wants percentages to pay dividends, so I'm gonna put Lockjaw in niche but replaceable. But Mysterio, I think, is a strong card, generally speaking, because it enables quite a few other cards to also be good. So at first glance, looking towards the bottom, like what's the worst of these? It's gotta be Drax. Probably Celine, Crystal, Silver Samurai, Baron Mordo's down there, probably here. Yeah, I'm gonna stay right there. That seems pretty okay. The good cards of the flexible but replaceable. Quake is the better of these with Daredevil and Black Widow. I think then, yeah, I put Spider-Ham up there too. The 4s, the worst of these is probably Leader, Jean Grey. I think probably ends up better than M'Baku, definitely better than Mojo. Mojo's probably gonna go on the bottom here. Yeah, that feels better. All right, niche, but like, what are the really good niche but replaceable cards? Can you see all the cards now if I do that? I mean, they're super tiny. The best of these, probably Captain Marvel being up there, Giganto, Arrow. This whole top area looks pretty good. Who's the worst of these? I think Valkyrie even ends up pretty bad. Atuma ends up pretty bad. Adam Warlock ends up actually worse. Hercules is also pretty bad. Yellow Jacket has such incredibly limited uses. Hell Cow. Goose goes higher. Goose definitely goes higher. Hell Cow goes down. Omega's got to get dropped. Zero's got to go up for what it'll do. Then, yeah, I'd rather Thor over discard Hell Cow. Actually, I like a lot over discard Hell Cow. Feels good. Feels pretty good here. It's a good starting point for niche, but well, secondary point for niche but replaceable. But then for niche and strong, the worst of niche but strong. Who's the bottom end of this? It's probably Ultron and Helicarrier. This one's so tough. Like, these are such important cards, like cards that you really, really want to have. Yeah, see, this is feeling better. This Move Trio, Wong Black Panther. Colleen ends up getting cut from quite a few of the discard lists. I'm gonna put her there. Quinjet's value is pretty high. I'll put it higher than Mirage, definitely. Hood's value is pretty high. I don't know, like, I'm gonna drop Polaris a little bit, and I'm gonna take the Havoc Black Cat combo over Red Skull more often than not. Do any of these deserve to rise and fall? Probably Mystique deserves to be a little higher. The flexibility of Mystique, I'd probably say so. Yeah. Same thing with Super Skrull. I think the flexibility puts Super Skrull a little higher. I'm constantly looking at, do I want these over these? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that for now. And then we've got the archetype definers. So you build into those, whether it's Hammer Bros or negative, it builds. It's a need to have card, need it to have it, need it to have it. Trio, bounce, bast, need it to have it, need it to have it, need it to have it, need it to have it. Every discard deck has it. Every Sauron deck has Sauron. Yeah, I like that. And then plug and play versus must-have staples. Okay, must-have staples versus plug and play. That's tough. Initial instincts of cards to throw up there are going to be Mobius, Juggernaut, Negasonic, Zabu, Luke Cage, Shadow King. Oh, that actually worked out well, 6 and 6. I think in their current states, all these cards are like the first ones you target. If you need to target Series 3s, you target these. Mobius is probably the most meta dependent of them. This is, yeah, I'd probably say that. And then down here, I think Sarah deserves to be high. I think Rogue deserves to be high. I think Echo deserves to be low. I think those are very, very valuable. I don't know. I mean, what looks right? What looks wrong? Does anything jump out at you as, oh dear God, no? Because I really don't think so. For what the categories do, because it's not, again, as a tier list, it's more about identifying roles as tiers and less about these cards are better than these cards. Because I don't believe in that. Every card has a purpose for a different deck. The question is, how many purposes does it have, and how strong is that purpose within the 12 cards you run it in? So I lean more on the air of caution with certain parts of these decks. I think Agatha's got a drop though. Sorry. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. Look, I know there's a lot of Series 3 cards. And again, this isn't a farming guide, minus the top 12 cards, I'd say. Minus the top 12 cards, I don't think this is a farming guide. I think the top 12 cards are the cards you want the most. And if you're going to farm them, farm anything in Series 3, when you see those cards, grab those cards, because they just work in so many different decks. But if you want to play very specific decks, you need to have certain archetype definers. Like, you can't play a Hela deck without Hela, you know? And then the niche but strong, these are all really good cards in different types of archetypes all over the place. Like, in the widespread of what they cover, it's a lot of archetypes, and they're good within them. They're strong in each of them, obviously. Niche but replaceable, as always, is like, yo, this has a very little window of where it could be played, and it's a nice flavor piece, and you play a little bit into the synergy of what this card wants to do, but at the core of what the decks end up being, you don't end up needing a bunch of those cards. Same thing with the flexible but replaceable. The difference is flexible but replaceable can be almost any deck that has an option to play those cards if it really wants to, but you just don't more often than not. And then how about no? It's pretty straightforward. I think everything in that bottom row could be buffed, nerfed, reworked, something along those lines. Every single one in that bottom row in some way. How? I don't know, but that's what comments are for. You can let me know down in the comments below. I think that it's Series 3 is tough, right? Series 3 is an absolute slog to work through and unlock. And there are very few cards, as you see, that I would truly say are worth, expediting into the collection because they're versatile. But because there are so many cards that are good, be adventurous with the decks that you decide to build as you're building your collection. If you just got 3 move cards, learn the move archetype. Even if you don't end up playing it long term, you end up knowing it so you can face it with the deck that you do choose that you want to play. I think it's a really good time to reinvest in what Marvel Snap is presenting for newer players. I hope that Series 3 even becomes more expedited than it already has been over the last 6 months or 8 months or whatever it's been that they changed the system. So you can get all of your Series 3 cards by collection level 2000 at this point. If you expedite exclusively on those, possibly even faster with collector's tokens. So you can push through quickly, but if you're going to target appropriately. That's all I really need to say there. You get the idea. It's a Series 3 ranking of where I think the cards are, especially for you all who are just starting the game or just curious where you are in your collection. So that's my review. Let me know what you thought down below. Appreciate y'all. See you next time.